What happens when a 200-year-old ghost tries to play matchmaker? Love at first fright. This is Reverend Redbeard, and welcome to Acadia After Dark. Tonight we're diving into one of Maine's most intriguing ghost stories, the haunting of Nelly Butler. Said to be the earliest ghost story of Maine and one of the oldest in the United States, this tale not only captures the imagination, but also intertwines with the rich tapestry of local folklore. So grab a cozy blanket or whatever suits you, and let's explore the eerie events that unfolded in Sullivan, Maine over 2 centuries ago. Nellie Butler was born Nellie Hooper in the late 18th century. She married Captain George Butler, but tragically died in 1799 during childbirth at just 21 years of age. But her story didn't end there. Shortly after her death, strange occurrences began to plague the home of her neighbor, Abner Blaisdell. It all started with mysterious knocking sounds coming from the Blaisdell cellar. Initially dismissed as mere coincidence, these noises escalated, and by January of 1800, a voice began to emerge, claiming to be Nellie Butler herself. As word spread, over 100 witnesses flocked to the Blaisdell home, eager to hear Nellie's voice. She expressed a desire to reconnect with her husband and even encouraged him to remarry. This led to some controversy, as she seemed to favor Lydia Blaisdell, Abner's teenage daughter, as a suitable match for George. With that, the haunting took on a life of its own, with Lydia often acting as a medium. She would facilitate conversations with Nellie's spirit, drawing both believers and skeptics into the fold. Reverend Abraham Cummings, a local pastor, documented these events, initially skeptical but eventually convinced of the supernatural occurrences. The haunting took a surprising turn when Lydia and George did become married at the ages of 15 and 26. Shortly after, the spirit of Nellie made a prediction that young Lydia would die during childbirth. Lo and behold, almost a year later, Lydia gave birth and died shortly after due to complications at the tragically young age of 16. This is when the haunting reportedly took on a new life. The spirit began to summon outspoken critics and skeptics to come to the house. She spoke on religious subjects to the crowds of people as if delivering a sermon. People claimed to have seen a flash of light or sometimes a thick fog before Nellie would appear. On one occasion, her apparition reportedly led 48 members of the local community over a mile through the night of August 13th and 14th. It seems most reports of any further incidents or encounters ended abruptly after this, however. Now, let's talk about the role of local folklore in shaping the belief about Nellie's ghosts. In the late 18th century, Maine was rich with stories of spirits and hauntings, and Nellie's tale fit perfectly into this cultural context, making it relatable and believable to the local populace. The communal aspect of the haunting, where people gathered to witness the phenomena, echoed traditional storytelling practices. This collective experience reinforced the belief in the supernatural, as shared narratives often solidified community bonds. The controversy caused by the apparition is also worth talking about. In the late 1700s, life in society was very different than we experience today. The idea of a 15-year-old marrying didn't raise as many eyebrows for the local community. However, there was a fair amount of people who had opposition to the proposal, one of whom being Lydia's father, Abner, but eventually the spirit had her way. Despite the widespread belief in the haunting, skepticism was also present. Some townsfolk suspected deception, while others attributed the events to psychological phenomena like mass hysteria. The balance between belief and skepticism added depth to the narrative, making it a rich topic for discussion. The story attracted the attention of a local traveling evangelist by the name of Abraham Cummings, who is known to have documented most of the reports on the case. He conducted interviews and collected testimony from 37 people who claimed to be eyewitnesses of the phenomenon. While initially a skeptic, he is said to have come to believe in the story after meeting with the spirit of Nelly himself. As the story evolved, it became part of the larger collection of ghost stories in Maine. Variations of Nelly's tale emerged, incorporating elements from other local legends. This blending of narratives kept her story alive and relevant, ensuring it would be passed down through generations. Interestingly, there are still connections to Nelly Butler's family in the area. The Sullivan Sorrental Historical Society highlights ongoing interest in her legacy, with some descendants reportedly still residing in the region. This connection to the past helps keep Nelly's story alive, intertwining it with the community's identity. As we wrap up today's episode, it's clear that the haunting of Nelly Butler is more than just a ghost story. As one of the earliest ever documented in the U.S., it is unique in several ways. It's not every day you find an entire community that all claims to have regular visits from an apparition, let alone have it impact so many lives in such profound and even tragic ways. One does have to wonder if the story is true. Why might Nelly have come back? Was it to reconnect with her lost love? Or was it something more sinister? We'll most likely never know, but it is fascinating to think about, isn't it? This has been Acadia After Dark with your host, Reverend Redbeard. Thank you for joining me on this eerie journey into Maine's haunted history. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share it with your friends. Until next time, keep your lanterns lit and stay spooky.